Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the AspieWorld podcast, where we're bringing you deep dishes of value daily. So you can check out everything over on TheAspieWorld.com if you want to check up on anything. All the information will be in the show notes. What's going on, guys? It's good to have you here, and it's good to have you listening as well. Just a quick note before we get started on today's interview. If you are listening to this podcast and you haven't already subscribed to get the daily episodes, then make sure you hit subscribe on your podcasting platform that you're listening to. And if you're here on YouTube as well and you want to learn more about autism, make sure to hit the subscribe button. All right, so I have a good guest with me today. I always love this kind of segment of the podcast where I get to meet people. So I'm introducing a guest today, William Hartwick, and he has such a lot to say. I'm reading this guy's bio and it's just insane. So we're going to go through it right now. William, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, my name is William Hartwick. I am a retired educator from California, Northern Park. I taught first grade, was middle school and elementary school principal.
Wow.
For the better part of 30 years. I live with Touretts syndrome. I live with bipolar disorder, and I've gone through life a lot different than the average bear. My book, The Invisible Backpack of Life Courage, is in rhyme prose. I write rhythmically, completely. It's how I deal with my conditions, how I heal. It's how I deal with the traumas of life. It's in writing. And now I get to share. I get to speak. I get to get back at the educational piece of life and teach again. And I get to teach 8 billion versus 8,000, a way of doing things, a way of overcoming judgment, a way of overcoming these conditions that we live with and finding another way other than, say, medication. There's so many opportunities. So my life, my goal, and my missions are to reach out to people like yourselves and have a conversation and maybe get in depth more and come and visit and share a story if I can.
Dude, I love
That's
this.
kind of who I am in a nutshell.
So tell me, dude, like, when were you diagnosed with bipolar and Tourette's?
So I was born in a coma. I was in a vegetative state in 1965, and I wasn't diagnosed until I was 35 years old with Tourette's syndrome. Growing up in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't there. Small town America, one doctor, I was a strange kid. I was just a strange brew. I was a lot to take. Bipolar, not until 54 years old, 55 years old when I was diagnosed with bipolar. I've learned a lot about trauma in the last 6 years of my life, written a ton about it. And I've been in through facilities. I've been into the big box cure-alls, and I have a different way of looking at life now. And the mental health side of life, and autism, and anything neuro has challenged the world, has challenged the medical world. Now we have to look at things differently. We have to look at it as humans and start the hugs, not drugs routine, and start finding another way. So at 35, they shoved pills down for me. So they gave me Xanax, Risperidol, and Ambien, about 80,000 of them down my throat to make it better. And it made it better for other people. It was miserable. They ruined my life. It was horrible. And other people say, well, you were subdued. For you, what about me? My energy shouldn't have to be medicated. So yeah, it's 35. And then I did it for about 18 years. And at 53, I dumped it all. Decided to take my life back, and a lot of things were happening. And so I got rid of medication and changed my life again with diet, exercise, food, right? So, food's my thing. Therapy.
Yeah, dude, I love that. Like, so, look, I mean, I'm medicated, but like, I wasn't medicated for a long, long time. And I have my reasons for wanting to, use medication to help with ADHD and kind of my autism. And one of the things is I always say as well is, like, we talk about no judgment, right? And I think that people should definitely be open to kind of like, if they feel like they should try medication, do it in your own terms and kind of test it and see what things happen. But I feel like a lot of the time the medical industry do try and pressure you to just take medication because they feel like they feel like they're doing their best job, right? By saying, hey, take this stuff because it's going to help you. It's, we've got case studies on it. But a lot of the time it's like, well, what is good for you? You have to test out different things. And I'm fascinated. You said that your book, so the book you got out, right? You said it was written rhythmically. Can you explain what that means? Like, what do you mean?
Sure. Let me just read one to you.
Please.
I'm going to read the back first of all. You probably read the back so the listeners can understand why it's the invisible backpack, and then I'll share one I think that's appropriate for the audience, if that's okay.
Please.
This is the back of the book. It was written by a reader. It says, "The invisible backpack is a labor of love, created from a lifelong struggle to come to terms with who the author is and accept himself as he's meant to be. We're all born with an invisible backpack on our backs. It's where we put the hurts of life. When we're young and courageously climbing the stairs of life, it's extremely light and we really don't know it's there. As we get older, it gets heavier with whatever pain, grief, or trauma we experience. Unfortunately, we resist taking these feelings out of our backpacks and letting go of them. Some of us hold so tightly, we forget to make room for the things that lighten our load: forgiveness, acceptance, tolerance, and love. Where we put these items in our backpacks, we'll cancel out all the negative things we've been holding on to, and our life's journey will become much lighter. And that's a reader's take on why it's the invisible backpack. But I write in rhyme in the very beginning of the book. I don't want to get into the trauma piece, but children are my life. So I'm going to read to you Children Are So Precious. And this is kind of what rhythmical writing is to me. It's simple. Every word has a meaning. The most used word in my book is God, and the second most used word is love. Thanks.
Oh, I love that.
Children are so precious. How can anyone get so mad? They must abuse a child. They have so much joy to give you in a manner that is so mild. They are so honest in the way they speak and how they judge us all. Don't abuse that child's morale. Let them stand up tall. Remember what it's like to crawl before you could walk? Please don't strike that child. Sit down, have a talk. Show them what it's like to love and believe in the spirit. Don't show them your pain and agony and let them have all your hurt. Turn it over to your God. Let those feelings of anger be stripped away. Enjoy your relationship. Please don't lead them astray. Remember words you speak can never be taken back. So before you tongue lash that child, think of the damage you track. And that's rhythmical writing. And that's what I mean about children.
Dude, I love that. One of the ways in which I used to read out comments on live, because I've got dyslexia as well, right, is one of the ways I used to read out comments was to sing the comments in kind of like a rhythmic way. And I love that. I love the way that that's structured, dude. And
it's the only way I can do it. I'm considered functionally literate in many ways. My GPA in college, sir, was 2.01. That's barely cum laude.
Yeah.
I've never read a book cover to cover. I can't read very well. I don't write very well. It's something I can never do. My IQ is off the charts. My ability is here. So in the 70s, it was shoving them in the middle retarded class. We didn't know what to do with them. They didn't know what to do with me. I was alive. I'm that little Billy. So I understand. And then as a principal, in the middle school, we had an emotionally disturbed classroom, and I was on the cusp of Asperger's when we became a spectrum with autism, and we started moving things in a way of spectrum thing, Tourettes syndrome, ADHD. So I was on the cusp of watching the transition, and I have a lot of experience dealing with children that suffer from the condition, and there's never a right way. Never a wrong way. There's always another way, and so we always found each individual and finding a way to help and support each one. I'm Tourette's. Somebody else maybe need a different way of accepting their condition, I guess. So, but it was always interesting. I really, I've studied enough of it to know how challenging it is to have a condition in general.
What would you say the biggest challenge was for you growing up as from say 8 years old to 15? What was the biggest challenge you faced?
Adults. I was teased a lot, bullied a lot. I had tics, I had twitches, I had movements, sores on my tongue inside and out, my mouth. I was a different beast. I was a lot to take. The energy off the charts. No on or off switch, only a dimmer. Always going. So it was always challenging. I couldn't sit in a chair. It didn't work for me. Sit down and shut up and read has never worked for anybody. 10% A's and 90% failures. So it was a challenge. It was challenging because adults didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to respond. They just kicked you out of class. Yeah, I just stand outside the door most of the time.
I totally get that. I had a similar experience, and it was really
I spent more time in the principal's office as a student than I did as a principal.
I guess that's really relatable for people because it is that especially the people of our generation and your generation, because again, right, it wasn't until the late 80s that autism, Asperger's and stuff was more of a term that the medical profession could use on a broader scope, right? And they weren't really all educated about it, especially like you say in rural places. I was in Wales, there's no way anyone's ever going to know about it here in Wales. It was just a crazy time. Here's a question: if you could go back in time to see yourself at 8 years old, what would you say to yourself?
Well, I'll phrase it as let's say 7th grade. I had a teacher, Ted Weber. He was a flamboyant man in the 70s, and he called me Billy Aloysius, Horatio Llewellyn, Hobart, Agamemnon, Hartwick. He goes, You're going to make it someday, but go the opposite. You're in my way. So I think I knew at that age that I had something different about me, but I didn't know what it was. And I really didn't know how to control it. I didn't know what to do with it. It was a lot of energy. And, parents would ask people ask my parents, what's wrong with your boy? I don't know. I don't know what I'd say to myself. Don't do anything different. I don't have any regrets of it. I'm the proverbial little Billy. I'm the one that they named it after.
I love that. What would you like people to know now about your conditions? Like, if I had to shut it down to like a sentence, what would you like to say to people so they could understand who you are and what you do as a person? Like as a person who has Tourette's, a person who has all of these issues, how would you?
Is foul language allowed?
Of course it is.
On your show.
Yeah, of course.
So let me read Tourette's in the very end of the book. I wrote it.
Okay.
And this will answer your question.
Wow, I'm ready.
Hey, dear Marcy, I finally found out I have Tourette's. Holy shit. We can call them all little son of a bitches and get away with it. Tau Kappa Epsilon, my fraternal nickname was Twitch. A term of endearment, a nickname I'll never ditch. I lived 35 years of my life always wondering why I go from complete laughter to a sudden tearful cry. Teased my entire childhood, mainly by those we trust. Adults with worst of all high school fucking bust. I was called a son of a bitch by Dale Thomas and literally kicked out of class. And Coach Ninehouse, I can't handle you on the bus, but you're a fucking ass. My label given to me has long been misled, even though half the skit have been misread. Medication was prescribed, but a fiasco that became. It's not okay for medical professionals to cause us to go insane. If I have the only neurological disorder known to those prescribing drugs, hey, Dr. Naris loves the answer. How about prescribing hugs? I want some, God. Got some shit. I have Tourette's. Do you want some of it? The final straw came when I was arrested and thrown in jail. DUI other than alcohol. You try and make bail. Before you judge us who suffer from this pain, think to yourself, what do I have to gain? We all have a disability. Take a look in the mirror. Can I walk on water, or do I simply have a fear? How to accept others no matter the twitch, the glasses, the creed. Thank God for those who understand why I chose to smoke weed. The only true relief I've ever had of the love. Footprints in the sand, my friends. Thank you, God above. So often people walk away or simply want to ignore. Maybe Tourette's will go away. We don't deal with him anymore. Do you all you the Haseket, the one that makes me be? Don't let them put you in a box. You live and be free. I'm proud of my life each and every day. Of course, there's times I think, make it go away. So when you're passing judgment and you're choosing to discriminate, you're now one of them. You're causing the hate. Friends.
Dude, that's amazing. That really is. I'm gonna get a copy of this book, dude. Like, it's insanely good.
I'll send you one. My gift. I'll mail you.
Oh, please, yeah, that'd be amazing. I just like I love stuff like this. So I like rhythmic poetry, right? Because like it just has such a dopamine hit of having rhythmic poetry.
Someone described it. It said in the beginning, I have some accolades, and Randy Fugate, educator of Northern California, wrote, "You've broken all the rules and demystified writing poetry, making it accessible to anyone." That's a cool compliment. I really appreciate that type of, because honestly, it's not poetry to me. It's my help. It's my therapy. People are going to say, "Well, it looks pretty easy." It's the hardest thing time to get to this point. It's been hell getting through the last 6 years. So if you're thinking about and wanting a mental health change, it's not easy. It's the hardest thing you'll do. It's not a cast. I'm not on chemo. We have to get through it because it's there every minute, and we have to deal with it. It's not going to go away. We got to find a way.
100%, dude.
Writing, like, is it. Mine's writing and cooking. Everyone has one. We just have to find it and find a way to pull it out of ourselves. Open that backpack and take one thing out. You can't get to two without one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, anything that's worth having should be hard work, right? So life is a test, and I always say this as well. Like, in school you learn and then take a test, but in life God tests you and then you learn, right? So it's kind of like,
well, school's a mess. I think it's always been backwards.
Yeah, because it is. Like schools they don't know what they're doing. I mean, they were set up to make factory workers. So school's kind of like, can you clock in at this time? Can you ask when to go to the bathroom? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not set for people, is it? Let's be honest.
It's the greatest invention of modern time and by far the worst system.
Yeah, exactly.
Educators everywhere anybody out there listening, superintendents, educators, you all had a chance coming back from COVID to get rid of sit down, shut up, and read. You could have created an education system that works. But it's easy to fail, so fail. You know, you do fail the kids. It's all your failure.
It is so funny because like the educators are doing their best and they're doing the things that they want to do. And like you said, it's a great invention. We all need education. That's how we move forward, right? But at the same time, the structure of it's just completely just kaput. Like it's not fit for purpose. That's it.
How to get away from teaching and start concentrating on learning.
Yeah, dude. There was I think the Dalai Lama said, you know, when we speak, we hear words we already know, but when we listen, we have the ability to learn something new. And I think that's the difference between learning and teaching, right?
And my favorite shortest rhyme I wrote, the mind changed against its will is of the same opinion still. That's for my friends in DC.
Oh man, I don't know if you call them friends. There's a lot going on right now. But dude, you know what's funny and I think is brilliant about you is that like you have this like crazy charismatic energy that like just radiates from you, right? And for a guy who's been through trauma, been through the ups and downs, has these issues, you're living proof that it's not the things that define you, it's who you are as a person, as a spiritual being, like that defines who you are, right? And it's how you shine through that and what your relationship to the universe is. And I think you're doing a fantastic job, and I think you're a fantastic role model for a lot of people. I do have a question. How can people find you online? Do you have a website? Do you have social media? Like, how do people find out more about you?
Well, not yet. First of all, the website, we're in the process.
Okay.
You can Google The Invisible Backpack. The book is everywhere. We just re-released it. It has just got a 5-star review from Great Reads.
Wow.
And so accreditation. And so Google the book. My email's easy. It's The Invisible Backpack 2023 at Gmail. You can email me. We're working on a website. I don't do social media for many reasons. Don't need to get into it right now, but it's not for me. I'm a purist and naturalist and techno idiot. So I prefer to reach out and let you all share the story, and I'll continue to tell it and let the book do its work. So I'm enjoying this type of process. It's a great thing. But so you can reach out through email. You can get the book. I'm in St. Augustine. If you're in the area. I have some book signings coming up pretty soon at Books A Million in Jacksonville and Barnes & Noble as well. So got to get out in the public. But it's easy to find. A lot out there on me right now, and it's kind of fun and exciting. I'm just enjoying it. I'm very humble and excited to tell a story, and hopefully one other person can tell theirs.
So what's next for you? What's the next thing for William? Like what are you doing next?
We're doing it today. I have an interview coming up at 11 with Book and Author Group. It's an organization. It's called Book and Author. As a matter of fact, Jed from the Great Reads organization kind of connected me. He's the one that I credited the book and did my last interview. So I'm going to continue the process. In store for me, you know, hopefully I have 2 books more coming out. My second book is titled Mental Health, You Decide. And the third book's entitled Normal, Basic, and Average, Not, and it's my autobiography. And so all in rhyme too. So I'm working on those. And I really want to get out in public and start speaking. I think for me, I don't need a lot of income. I want to get out and experience it. I think I'm ready for that. I think the world is in a spot to hear a story such as mine and maybe benefit.
I think so.
I'd like to do.
Yeah, dude, and you're awesome. Like, there's nothing worse than going to see a keynote speaker who's completely boring, and you're the exact opposite of boring. So I think it would be really good.
Well, I have a 10-minute intro. It's the 10-minute intro to my autobiography, and it's quite telling. And it's captivating. I was in Colorado, and I delivered it at a speakers guild there. And the lady was a 48-year veteran speaker. When I finished, she said, I have no comment. That's amazing. And so I think I'm ready. I really think I can get up there. I think I could really benefit some schools around the area, high schools especially, kids and young adults getting ready to make transitions and dealing with it. I don't require much. I ask that they buy a copy of the book for their staff at a discounted rate and a couple bucks my way to pay for things and move on. But that's what I would like to start doing and get out there and share.
Absolutely. There's a company called Tales to Inspire. You should definitely reach out to those, or I can link you if you remind me by email. And they have Tales to Inspire speakers and they help get gigs in things like schools and universities and stuff like that. So it'd be really cool for you to connect with them, because I think they'd be really interested in what you have to offer.
And I'll give 2 shout outs. First, I have a publicist, Christina Deptula, Authors Large and Small. She's in Davis, California. She's the one that connected you and I. And my publisher is Palmetto Publishing, and they're in South Carolina. And the president, Jack, they're just great people. And I just want to let people know that looking for somebody to help you, Christina has autism. And her company organizations, Authors Large and Small. And she has disabled people helping us disabled people get out and share a story. And that's kind of a neat organization to be part of. I met her in San Francisco about a year and a half ago at the Writers Conference when I decided to take this plunge. And it worked.
Dude, I love that. San Francisco, my favorite place in the whole world, by the way, dude.
San Francisco?
Yeah.
It's top 5 by far. Absolutely. It's an amazing city.
My guy,
the food's off the charts.
Off the charts, dude. Everywhere you go, it's crazy. Maybe, I mean, Grant Avenue.
Even AT&T Park.
Dude, it's great.
The food is off it. Best crab sandwich in San Francisco is AT&T Park. He's just telling me.
My guy, it's so good. It's just so expensive. Like, I'd love to live there. I just can't afford it. And
you're 90 miles from Freedom. I mean, from Napa.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always get some wine, just go for a drive. And
well, maybe not at the same time.
Not at the same time. You go for a drive and then have the wine. But I mean, you're close enough, right? Over the Bay Bridge and you're gone.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's that feeling, when you're flying into SFO, it's like, it's where I'm at, man. It's where I'm at.
I was born and raised 300 miles north on the Oregon border on the coast. It's called Crescent City, California. So San Francisco was a frequent place. I went to school in Chico and Arcata, Humboldt State, and Chico. So San Francisco was frequent. I lived in the Bay Area in Lafayette right during the Loma Prieta earthquake in '89. I was a medical rep for Whitehall Laboratories. I was working with Advil. It was a really challenging job. Actually, it was horrible. But I lived in the Bay Area for a couple of years too, so very familiar with a lot of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's a great place. I think the developing parts of Tenderloin now, which is a bit sketchy, but it really is good. I really like the Golden Gate Park and the Japanese tea gardens. The whole experience of just being in San Francisco, I think is just crazy good. And downtown's great. You know what I mean? Union Square. But when I was there last, I was staying at Nob Hill. At the top of California Street, and it was just great because I could literally walk to Grant Avenue from where I was staying, right? In just 2 minutes, and I was in Grant Avenue. I don't think I'd eat in Grant Avenue, but you're right though. All the other food, I mean, some of the best Italian food I've ever had, ever. By far better than New York.
Literally is off the charts. It is off the charts.
Yeah, dude, and it's crazy good. Anyway,
yeah,
Will.
There's a plug for San Francisco.
I know. I want to go back. I haven't been there for ages, but yeah, it's such a good place. Listen, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think this is going to inspire a lot of people. The Invisible Backpack book, get it while you can, guys. I'm super interested. I'm so excited to read this book. It's like nothing else I've ever come across. I think it's amazing. William, take care, and I will speak to you soon.
You have a minute for a joke?
Of course I do.
So Jesus, Noah, and Moses are playing golf.
Okay.
And it's a par 3, and there's a pond in front. The little old man walks up and asks to join. They said, sure. So Moses spins the tee, and it lands on Noah. Then it's going to be Moses, then Jesus, and then this little guy. So Noah gets up, and he hits it. It's kind of awkward. There's no idea. It's going for the water, and the water has an arc appear, and it takes it across up on the green. So it's Moses' turn, and Moses gets up, strikes it nicely, and it's going for that pond, and the pond parts. And the water ball goes up on the green. So it's Jesus' turn, and Jesus is perfect swing. Grab the wrong club. He does make mistakes, and it's going for the water, and it skips across on the green. He turns around and says, your turn. So this little man gets up, and he slices one way out in the woods. And a squirrel picks up the ball and runs across the fairway. An eagle swoops down, picks up the squirrel, flies across the green, drops the ball off, and goes in the hole. And Jesus turns around and says, come on, Dad, just play golf.
What?
Perspective, my friend.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think there's a life lesson there somewhere. I don't think it's less of a joke, more of a life lesson, right?
Yeah, always. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate the time. Get back together if you want to have another show. And
100%.
If I can help out across the pond, let me know.
100%, dude. Thank you.